Katie Frost, Republican strategist and former executive director of the Georgia Freedom Caucus, and Josh Lafazan, former Democratic legislator in Nassau County, New York. Welcome, both of you. Katie, why don't we start with you tonight? Earlier, we were actually speaking with Grover Norquist, president of Americans for Tax Reform, about the economy and the economic impact of some of Trump's policies that he has vowed to put in place, in particular the 60% tariffs promised on Chinese goods. He talked about tariffs as a bargaining chip with China. Let's take a quick listen together.
On the tariffs that he's targeted last time out, and the ones he's been talking about this time also, the tariffs on China, for instance, he has talked about those, using those as a negotiating tool to keep China from stealing our technology, to get China to allow our goods and services to go into China. But the president's also looking at taking the corporate rate to 15%, lower than the 21%. That would tremendously give us economic growth.
How do you think the president-elect's economic policies will impact American pockets?
Well, it's great to be with you again, Natasha. I think that the American people are going to see an economic boon under President Trump, just as we did in his first administration. You know, is going back to what Grover was saying about using these as a bargaining chip. President Trump is obviously the consummate deal maker. He literally wrote the book on the art of the deal. And so, of course, he's going to want to negotiate with China and these other countries, and bringing tariffs into the conversation, of course, is an important part of that. Look, when he did those tariffs, as you mentioned earlier, against China, the Biden administration kept them in place because they obviously saw that they were working and they were something that was beneficial for the American people. One element that has not been discussed nearly enough, in my opinion, is that President Trump has also talked about not just energy independence for the United States, but energy dominance. And that is something that will bring down the cost of goods for the American people tremendously, because every single product you go to the store and purchase has an energy cost attached to it, whether it is to transport the raw materials to the factory, the energy to power the factory that produces that product. And a lot of our products have oil and petroleum in them themselves. So when we bring down the cost of our oil and petroleum, that is going to bring down the cost of goods. And that's going to be a huge benefit for the American people.
Josh, do you agree? Are you concerned that tariffs would ultimately just raise prices for Americans?
Sure, I think there's legitimate concern among Democrats that tariffs will just pass on the cost to the consumer. But Natasha, as you know, I am not a Democrat who looks at the election results and says that we need resistance across the board. I'm somebody who looks at the election results and says the American people spoke that they wanted a change. And therefore, Democrats like myself should look to work with Republicans on the issues that voters prioritize. And of course, voters prioritized the economy. We know it was the #1 issue, but they also prioritized, immigration, crime, these quality of life issues. And so it'd be a mistake for Democrats to look at Trump policies across the board and outright reject them when voters said that they wanted a change. Now, I want to clarify here, the Congress must not be a rubber stamp to just approve Trump's plans like the tariffs. He just can't push through all his confirmations in the Senate with recess appointments, and Democrats in the Congress have to exercise their oversight authority here, because as a history lesson, the founders of the three branches, executive, legislative, and judicial, they made the legislative branch the most important branch because it was the most tangible to the people. And so speaking of tariffs, it's important for Democrats in Congress and Republicans to exercise their legislative authority on oversight and not just rubber stamp every proposal Trump gives them.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.